Super Sons issue 1, written by Peter J. Tomasi and art by Jorge Jimenez. Obviously, we've been waiting for this for a long time. It's Damien and John team up finally, and it was indeed super fun. There's an opening that's a little bit weird. It's not really addressed again for the rest of the book. I'm sure obviously it'll come into play with the main plot as it goes on. With a TV show that's been filmed with this kid who like makes all his friends do stuff, to his bidding. It's like he has control over them.
Yeah, it's family.
It's very Twilight Zone. It's a Good Life.
Yeah. I know exactly.
Where there's like this undercurrent of a threat that they have to listen, or else.
But there's not much to say on it. 'Cause it's a couple of pages. It's not really brought up. We see Superboy and Robin fighting a bunch of like weird puppet-esque clones of themselves, and then it's like, nah, right, back to the start. Let's see how this actually starts. And we have a lot of really fun stuff. We have Damien dressing up and being disguised as the school bus driver, and like unmasking at one point, and John getting pissed at him. So that's super fun.
And as a teacher, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think we see it, but he mentions that.
You mentioned him.
Yeah, last week, history class, that was me.
So we know Damien's 13.
Yes.
How old's John supposed to be? Is he like 11, 10?
Yeah, I think like 2 years younger, something like that.
I'd definitely say 11 or 12. 10 seems a little bit young.
Yeah. Just because their stuff goes in between, because John's like, but you drove the bus, you're not 16. He's like, I've been driving since I was 10. Which...
to be fair, I think he actually says 5.
I think he says 5. And it cracked me up because that was a throwback to Batman and Robin. I don't know if you recall, because obviously you read it not that long ago, where Gordon asked him, like, do you even know how to drive? And he's just like chilling in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
It was 5. And he's been doing other stuff since he was 10 that he shouldn't be. So he's such a jerk, and I love it.
What I really want to point out here though is in the art, the facial expressions are super down, because them being angry at each other or laughing at each other when they think they've got the one up on the other one, great stuff. Obviously we also have John wanting to use his heat vision when the snowball bullies are getting him on. That's actually when Damien sort of shows his hand, because Damien throws a massive snowball off the roof. Because he's Damien.
Because of course he does.
Yeah,
because he has to be over the top and theatrical.
Well, and see, I like how they're drawing the line between the two. Is like, John is constantly being told by his parents to stand up to people, but you need to do it without using your abilities. Where Damien's like, I'm not going to play by that rule.
I'm going to do whatever I have to.
Exactly. I'm just going to drop a gigantic snowball on these 12-year-olds because I'm Damien.
And of course, the whole main plot actually starts because Batman's like, no, Damien, you're falling behind on your studies, you're not coming out on patrol, you're staying in the cave. And Damien says...
He talks over Alfred. He does a hand plant on his head.
So he decides to just show up in John's bedroom in the middle of the night. John's going to bed. Lois tucks him in. Which makes me feel a bit younger than 12. I have to admit, I don't remember being tucked in at the age of 12.
Yeah.
I think
but
that's
then he has a special child.
I think that's just something to do with him and...
Okay.
I don't know.
They talk about how his flight powers haven't taken hold yet. So, it's kind of like you never know what's going to happen with him. So you kind of want to keep checking in on him.
Yeah. So I'll say that I loved it when Damien sort of like, because obviously Lois tucks him in. Oh, sorry, they shouldn't tuck him in. Sorry, I'm looking at that. He goes to bed on his own accord. I do apologise. But he goes into bed and it's just, there's a panel of him sleeping, and then the next panel is just, you hear the speech bubble from Damien just comes from the darkness behind him, and it just says, I hope you remember to floss, Johnny boy. And I read that.
Terrifying, isn't it?
It is terrifying. Do you know what I read that in the voice almost of Jack Nicholson from The Shining. It just, that's what it feels like. It feels like this sinister thing to just say in the background.
That's exactly how I read it, and I definitely think Damien did an impression there when he said that.
I also, I just love the idea. I can, even though you can't really see his face, there's like a little bit of shading to indicate that he's there, but I can actually just tell he's got a smirk in his face as he's saying it.
Yeah.
You can.
He's proud of himself.
You can hear the smirk.
Yeah, you can hear the smirk. So they have a bit of banter about who would win in a fight, blah 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 blah.
I'm older. I'm taller.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And Damien's like, all right, there's been some break-in attempts at LexCorp. Right, let's go. Don't be a kid anymore. Let's go and be super. Blah 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 blah. So fantastic shot, which is now my new wallpaper, by the way, of Damien and John in the skyline in silhouette with the lightning behind him. Of course, John's leaping. He can't fly yet. That's important. But we end with a really classic Batman and Robin-esque, like climbing up the side of a building. When cameo alert, Lex Luthor shows up behind him. Obviously, he's got his suit so he can fly, and he's like, "Can I help you boys with something?" Which, what's funny about that line as well is that even feels very different to his normal tone. That sounds like something Superman would say, and it feels like he's trying to emulate that.
See, I don't know. From Lex, I feel it's like he knows. Well, he obviously knows who Damien is.
Right.
Yeah,
because he's Robin, and he's just like, okay, what are they doing? I'm gonna have some fun with this almost.
Yeah,
it's like he's not taking them seriously.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. He doesn't seem like he's Lex, I think typically if he catches someone on the side of his building, he will be like, "What is this outrageous thing going on?" He'd get very upset and angry and try and like force his dominance on them. Whereas here it feels more like, oh, these are kids, and
it's more sarcastic teacher.
Yeah.
It's like, when if there's someone with the phone out and it's like, oh, you got any news you want to share with everyone, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Matt's staying very quiet for someone who loves Lex Luthor and loves everything.
No, well, it's just a page. Like I'm not going to go nuts over just the page. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's the last page. I love this issue 1. So
yeah, me too.
I am fully on board for Super Sons. Not that I really thought I wouldn't be, because let's be honest, it's there's no reason why it shouldn't have been great, because it's the same writer as Superman who's been killing it.
Yeah.
And honestly, John and Damien are like both fantastic characters. I know some people don't love Damien all that much, but
that's the point, though. Like,
you love him because he's a dick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they play off each other great because they're so different. Because Damien is he's almost like, do you know what Damien is? Damien's the one who will say, "I'm the goddamn Batman" when he becomes Batman.
Yeah.
He's that guy. Yeah.
Do you know, it's all in the way they're posed as well. The panel after the one you said, after the Dark Knight Returns shot, you've got John stood up, shoulders out, classic pose, and Damien's just there like, come on, what are you doing?
Well, I almost want to jump into the universe at that point and just like show John the page from like it's like issue 4 or 5 of Nightwing, where it starts with Damien practicing his Teen Titans call. He's like, "To me, my Titans." Are like, yeah, he's a dork too. Don't listen to him. He's pretending to be cool.
Yeah.
But it also plays off of he's older, so John kind of looks to him, even though he shouldn't, just because he's the older kid.
Yeah.
Well,
and
hey,
Damien knows this.
Damien did get him that video game for Christmas to show up Clark, so friendship is brewing.
But I do look forward to Nightwing and John interacting more too, just because we know how much Dick loves Clark.
Yeah,
it's like his favorite uncle.
And Clark loves Dick.
Clark loves Dick, right back. So I'd like to see how their relationship's different, because I'm sure it's not as contentious. Like, we know that Damien has a lot of affection for his older brother, but he still will call him out. Where I think John's gonna look at Nightwing as kind of like his hero, and go from there.
Which, given where the name Nightwing comes from, it's actually something kind of cool about the young half-Kryptonian looking up to Nightwing.
I can also see at some point John taking inspiration from Dick to be his own man rather than just being his father. And that's where he'll come into his own as his own hero at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, this is how the Bat family and Super family should interact. I get so tired of them being pitted against each other, and I'm glad that DC is doing team-ups with, Oh,
I'm so glad this is...
Batgirl and Supergirl.
Yeah.
John and Damien.
I'm so glad this is an ongoing. I'm so glad. Do you know what they should have called this World's Smallest, and then they should start a Batgirl Supergirl book called World's Finest. Because I mean, Batman and Superman don't need it. They're in tons of books together. They're fine. They're
They
sorted.
got Trinity.
Yeah, they got Trinity. They're in Justice League.
Well,
They're
and they have Batman, Superman, or Superman, Batman, whatever iteration, every other time. They can let the younger kids step in.